adventures were always tempting. And we thought it would be fun one night to sneak into the sawmill, trying not to get caught. The building I'm going to point out is this building right here. And this picture doesn't show the log boom out in front. That's one picture I need to find that I'd like to attach to this autobiography. But what we would do is we would tie our boat out at the end of the log boom, and then balancing on the logs floating the lake, we would walk 1 foot in front of the other until we hit shore. And once again, on solid ground, we would enter the building where the mill workers were putting logs through the limbers and the planers on the night shift. We would hide behind beams, then take a run for it to the stairway, hoping we would not be seen. And we'd scurry up the sawdust-laden stairway leading to the gangplank walkway high above the floor. The place was filled with sawdust, at least a few inches thick everywhere. The smell, the excitement, the loud noise of the machinery, and the sense of imminent danger if we got caught was very thrilling. I met my husband, Rick. First of all, I want to show you some pictures. This was actually an old picture that I found at my grandparents' house just recently. My dad's actually driving his logging truck, and they logged in the winter in Long Valley. The snows used to be a lot bigger in the winter, but this is logging in the Northwest in the 50s and 60s. Now I'm going to talk about my husband, Rick. In 1977 in McCall, I was attending college at the University of Idaho, and I met him. And I was working during the summer, and he had moved to McCall after attending Boise State University. His family also has roots in McCall. They had built a small cabin on Warren Wagon Road in the early 60s. Rick and his siblings also learned how to ski at the Little Hill. It turns out Rick's grandfather and my grandfather used to swap Scottish tams at the Forster's Club, which is a local bar many moons ago. How many of you know what a Scottish tam is? Scottish tam are those woolen hats that are usually plaid and they have the little pom-poms on them. And they are usually tartan plaids or different plaids. Anyway, we didn't find out about that until years later after we were married, that these two used to get together and do this. So we were married in 1980 in the McCall Community Congregational Church, the same church my parents were married in. That same year, Rick, along with his partner Bob, purchased a local hardware store on the lake in McCall. And as newlyweds, we lived in a one-room apartment for 5 years before we had children. Our apartment was below the store looking out on the lake. We have great memories. For example, I remember grinding all our own flour and baking 6 loaves of bread every Saturday morning. We slept on futons on the floor. We used to sail on the Payette Lake when we had the chance. And we even entertained guests for dinner, 1 couple at a time. So these were days when I taught jazzercise, and I don't have any pictures of that either. And I need to have those in there because you remember those days of the thong leotards and the leg warmers and all that. And that really, I need to get those in here because I found those old pictures and I should have taken photos of those. And it was a really great fun time. You know, McCall didn't really have a true fitness club until 1984. And I even taught some classes at this new club as well. And so, but this career allowed me to be with my boys when they were really, really young. And so our sons, Scott and Todd, they're now grown, and they have also been nourished by McCall's pure mountain water and air and its small town village atmosphere. They have done a lot of the same things that their grandfather and great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather did. Skied, camped, fished, hunted, attended school. And now, our eldest and his wife are making their home in McCall. Our eldest son, Scott, was married August 15th, 2009 at Charlie's Gardens to our daughter-in-law, Fallon. This is just a picture of my boys at the wedding. Todd is the closest one, and then Scott, our eldest son. And Scott and Fallon knew each other in high school. They both graduated from the University of Idaho, and after a short time in Boise, they decided to make their home in McCall, too. Scott's now working at May Hardware and looking forward to becoming part of the business someday. So he is the 5th generation of my paternal family settling in Long Valley. And our youngest son, Todd, is attending BSU. He's kind of a sophomore / almost junior. And he's studying fine arts. And he, too, talks about McCall and its draw as a place to settle. It'll be interesting to see how this unfolds for him. He had studied art in Italy for a year after graduating from high school. My husband, Rick, is the rock of my life, and we've had a really great time our last 31 years together in marriage. You know that husband who was so handy that he can fix anything, and he's great at doing dishes as well, and baking bread and pies. He's our true keeper. He also loves to fly his, he has a 182, and he's currently rebuilding his Cub aircraft, and he loves flying in the backcountry. And when he's not working at May Hardware or fiddling around with a project, he's usually out flying. And I've been a teacher pretty much all my adult life in one form or another. And I can't leave out this member of my family. This is my Springer Spaniel. She now is my greatest companion. She goes everywhere with me. And my boys tell me, you know, Mom, I think you buy her more toys than you've bought us. I mean, what's the deal? You know. Anyway, these are pictures of my students. I want to tell you a little bit about what's going on with these next few pictures. So in my 18th year as a school teacher, I do reflect on my connection to this place, my roots, and my experiences with the outdoors as influences on my teaching. For 15 years, I've taken my environmental science students to the Taylor Ranch Field Station owned by the University of Idaho. This particular overnight field trip just kind of feels like it's part of me now. We fly by small aircraft, since Cessna 206s and Islanders, to the heart of the Frank Church Wilderness for an overnight stay, hiking from Cabin Creek to Taylor, which is on Big Creek. Big Creek empties into the Middle Fork of the Salmon. It is truly magical to see students picking up macroinvertebrates from pristine waters, becoming totally engrossed in the microcosm of the stream. I listen to them marvel about the views atop Sagebrush Flats, wondering what the Sheep-Eater Indians had done on this place centuries ago. When a student picked up the ancient mortar that fit into the pestle used to grind grain, they felt the awesome power of history right in their hand. So what is this force that draws my students closer when they share a common experience? It is simply wondrous. They are engaging in the act of beholding the power and grace of nature in the heart of the Frank Church Wilderness. As my students were journaling in their field notebooks in response to prompts I'd given them about the science activities, one spoke up and said, "Hey, Mrs. Faraday, you forgot a prompt. You know, the one that how we felt about when we bonded around the kitchen table playing cards last night." I asked myself, wow, this experience, or I said to myself, wow, this experience really means a lot to them. So much so that they let go of school identities and masks that they wear at school, and they were truly connecting to one another, letting the moment be real. Here, they're doing this game where they balance these chocolate cookies on their eyeball, and then they have to wiggle their face to try to get it down to their mouth. Anyway, so they're just having a really good time. What gifts these students have given to themselves and me by opening up to the experience. Isn't that what teaching gives back? It's about connection to others and to place, our relationship with others and nature, and keeping that awareness in the forefront. The end.